All right, everybody. Well, if you have been joining us for the past few episodes, here we are with another one. And
Yeah.
this time, we actually do have something, what I think is going to be a little bit fun talking. And it was the phrase that Daniel used, and I kind of took with it and I put my own words to it, but I like what he says. There's spiritual chasing going on. And since Daniel created those words at the beginning of the very first podcast we had, I think it's just right for you to define that. So, what is spiritual chasing?
I mean, I didn't create the words. I just put them together. I can't take all the credit. Man, I got to remember what it was. So spiritual chasing would be using spirituality to chase objects or chase things or chase what you want. And what it leads to is, I guess, in a way, avoidance instead of going outward to get the things. I'm going to think about all these things that manifest my reality. And that's great. But it doesn't come from chasing it. You don't say 8 affirmations so you get $1 million. Like, I don't think Yogananda was like, say your affirmations so millions of dollars will come to you. Like, you just be like, oh. And obviously if you're in poverty, it's good to use it to get out of it. But like, that just sounds ridiculous. So, and actually what's coming up for me lately a lot, and I took a hike and asking about it, was travel is the new spiritual chasing. Mm-hmm. So now people they want to just travel all the time. Like they're like, I want to travel, I want to travel, I want to travel. And it's like, it's almost like, I want a Maserati, I want a Maserati, I want a Maserati. It's the new thing. And I was, reading and going inward and like thinking about this, and the masters of people, they don't tend to travel a lot. They might in spurts with a purpose, but they tend to be very still, like the shamans and the Buddhas, and they're in one spot. And how are we going to make a change in the world if we just want to run around? And that to me is also a way of avoiding yourself, because I've done it, so I know how to do it.
Well, I think we've all done it. We're all guilty of it. I always like to say it's the seeker will always be seeking, but it will never be. And because if you're always seeking for the next, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to this other seminar. Oh, I'm going to go to Peru and do ayahuasca. Oh, I'm going to go to Budapest and go here. So the different places. If we're always seeking, then we're never being. And I think that's why I like your word, spiritual chasing, because it's exactly that. We're always chasing for something that's going to make us better, something that we think is going to give us more, or the word abundance gets convoluted and kind of screwed up sometimes in thinking that it means more money.
Right.
Talked about that. So the spiritual chasing aspect, I feel, is another way of escaping, of not dealing with our stuff. That's the way I see it. And that's why I love this topic for today, because I think it's very relevant right now. I agree with you. Right now, trips are the way to get things done. But we go and yes, we go do tourism, and then we go do the spiritual thing. And then all of a sudden we think that we went to a couple of ayahuasca ceremonies and boom, everything's solved. And it's not like that. Having been to some of those retreats, I can tell you, there's work after the ceremony. The ceremony really starts after the ceremony, the life ceremony. That's what I got to say.
I mean, I 100% agree. And I've chased, and I'm not saying not to go to seminars or do these things. I mean, I'm going to a Kyle Cease meditation retreat, and it was 5 months away. And I had this moment being like, 4 months away, a little over. I'm like, that's a long way away. But I'm like, oh, no, it's not. Like, now I get to build up excitement and plan the trip and have this fun getting to it. Well, most people want to travel like every month, right? They always just want to keep on going. They want to keep on with the excitement. And I've learned more spiritually from sitting still, doing nothing, than I do it. Those are like the surgeries, and then you got to come back and do the work.
Yes, I like that. So, I mean, even Buddha, I mean, look at it. He actually sat underneath the tree, and he just was there. He didn't have to go out chasing, because that's really where the work is. The work is not outside of us. the outside of us is just a reflection of what's inside of us. And
Yeah.
it's funny because we think that the next best thing will fix us. And something about the human condition that just we want to be fixed, and we want to be fixed. And all of a sudden you hear this new thing and, oh, I got to be fixed. So I'm going to go over there and I go chasing this other new thing. It's like, oh, there's a new fad that's going on. And I think it's also driven by our current society of instant gratification. I think that's the other part about it.
I agree. Definitely the instant gratification. I mean, we are addicted to that intensity, that like right away big thing. And I don't think that's wrong, but I think if you're not enjoying the cup of tea you're having in the morning and that's not enough, then you're not really abundant. Because most of life is going to be filled with doing the dishes and having tea and eating your meal. Like that's I mean, you might go traveling and maybe you live a life of all travel. I know there's people that do that and they're exhausted, but and that's cool too. But if you don't enjoy those little moments, to me, that is abundance. Like that is what matters. Like, and if you're not stopping and slowing down enough to enjoy that, then you're just missing out on 90% of the joy of life.
And that's the part. I think that's the key that you just hit on, joy. We forget so much about joy. We forget so much about laughter. There's been times when I've been in some places where people are meditating, and I understand about silence, but sometimes you got to laugh at some of the things that we do to ourselves. It's like and I think the overall spiritual aspect of it is very serious, but I also find that humor is one of the things. If we can't laugh about some of the ridiculous things that we do, I mean, like, come on, let's be realistic. It's like I'm going to sit there with my legs crossed and meditating. And to me, that's kind of, yes, it's serious work, but man, it's kind of funny just sitting there, and it's
right.
I'm having some fun with it, and why not? I mean, why does it have to be all serious? That's the other part about it. It's like spiritual chasing, I've noticed, also becomes very serious. And my goodness, you have to do it this way. And, the box says do it this way, and that's the only way we're going to do it. I say, screw that, do it the way it feels the best for you, and that will work the best. There are some fundamental things, but overall, I think we can create our own stuff. That's why there are so many different modalities out there in this field. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree, obviously, with having fun with the different methods. The ridiculous part about meditation, to me, deep down, is how hard it is for people. And it's literally the easiest thing to learn. Like, you literally go like, you just got to sit there for an hour. You don't do anything else. And people are like, I can't do that. But I can go to work and like sit at a computer. I'm like, but you can't sit there for an hour? They're like, no, I don't got time for that. And I'm like, what? It's so confusing. Like, it's in its core, it's the funniest thing, that what we think is hard and what we think is easy.
Well, isn't it also funny? I mean, there's a survey that just came out. It's like they said like 90-something percent people hate their job that they're at. And yet something that will kind of relax you a little bit, people don't like it. It's like, oh, all right, so you rather do that thing you hate rather than being out here with your own thoughts. Well, I guess some of us have some scary thoughts, so maybe we don't want to be there, but you know what I mean. But being that in that silent mode, I mean, being with yourself, I would rather do that than being somewhere where I really don't like. I mean, that's me. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've worked some jobs I don't like, but it's my curse, but I think it's actually my blessing, or whatever you want to look at it. I've never been able to, that I know of, really been able to just do a job for the money. Like, and if I do that, it's like I can't do it. Like, I was a therapist, and I worked at a nonprofit, and then I was working for environmental as an activist, and I drive because I like driving, and then I do coaching because I like coaching. And I would rather always make $30,000, $40,000 a year and just get by and doing something I like, than being a job I hate and make $200,000. I've never, it's so ridiculous to me because you spend 40 hours a week at work. It is so much of your life, and you're deciding to struggle and suffer so much of your life for that one vacation where you get drunk and you sit on a long chair while I'm just working 25 hours a week, making enough money because I live a simple life. And I'm going on hikes every day and sitting on lawn chairs. Yeah. It's bizarre. Like, at its core, that is just bizarre. I've never understood it. And obviously people are stuck, and I get it, and it's not like a judgment, but if you can make some changes, it'd be really easy. Like that, you could just minimize your life a little bit. You could be like, I'll go from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom house, and then you could work a job you don't hate.
Yeah, that's the other part, though. I mean, when we get to a certain point, there's at least that we have our Maslow's hierarchy. We have our standard things to live. Anything past that, in my opinion, is that we will be able to do what we are happy, but we have to realize what makes us happy, because we're conditioned. Once again, it comes back to that conditioning. And the reason, yes, we're talking about like regular day-to-day stuff, but spiritual chasing, bringing it back to that subject, we're doing the same thing. And if we're doing spiritual chasing, we're trying to find the spirituality means this box. Right. So I have to always be doing this. And for people that are doing that, yes, they are getting some healing work, but the same thing can be said about the people that are miserable at their work. If they're miserable in their work, they are getting some lessons, because out of everything we realize life is all lessons. The spiritual chasers are getting them. And I'm not saying I didn't do that or do that. It's like, because I'm human. I have flaws, but I love them all. That's the difference. And then the people that goes to work and is not happy at their job, they're the same thing. They're going through the same process. So to me, one of the things that I've noticed also in the spiritual realm, the metaphysical realm, whatever you want to call it, it's also that there is a very underlying ego behind it. It's like, I'm spiritual, so I've gotten there, and those poor people over there, that's one of the mentalities that drives me crazy sometimes also. And it goes along with that spiritual chasing, because it's like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm going to this trip, or I'm going over here to this seminar, and I'm better. And I've had some people be like that, and it's like, wow, you're just being as prejudiced as the people that you're saying are bad about you. So I find that very humorous also, because we're creating the same things that we're criticizing other people for.
Yeah. I went to this, I go to ecstatic dance, which is like a spiritual ceremonial dance, and I love it. But oh my God, everyone's wearing the same type of clothes. And it's like, they want to be different, but I'm looking around like, there's a uniform for this. And I was like, do I need to wear the uniform? And I'm like, no, I'll just wear my shorts and t-shirt. I don't want to have to go buy extra clothes to go to the ecstatic dance. Like, I don't really care. But I noticed that, like, it becomes like, well, this is what spiritual is, right? I wear this necklace, and I wear these clothes, and I look this way, and look at me, and I was a hippie once, and there was a way to dress. And it's like, now I just want to wear plain t-shirts and jeans. Like, honestly, I don't want to think about it. Mm-hmm. But it's the way I want to dress. I don't care what spiritual dress is or what it's supposed to be. Right. I see those patterns, and it's really, really funny to like watch it happen. Like, spiritual people might be the most ridiculous people on the planet. Like, because they say these things, but they just change their costume, but they're the same person. I remember this like meme or something that's like a guy being like, going to a girl being like, oh, I want to be your tantric sex partner. Do you want to come over and snuggle with me? And it was just like, they're just using, like, they're like a frat guy being like, come over. Like, I have beer in my room. Do you want to come see it? Like,
you can come to the cuddle party, right?
Right. Let's all have no boundaries together and see how that works.
No, I find it fascinating that we, because that part, especially right now, yoga is being used so much as a sport, and yoga just has so much history about it. It is the meditative process. And back to what you were talking about, the ecstatic dancing, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've never done it. I've been wanting to actually try it out and just see what it's like.
I love it. I make fun of it, but I love it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks a lot of fun. And for me, I'm kind of more a conservative type guy, but, I do want to push my boundaries out there to see what expression for me. Anyway, but the whole dressing thing, I have found that very amusing, that it's like, oh, if I dress a certain way, people will say, oh, yeah, you're this or you're that. But yet, like, if I'm wearing a shirt like this, it's like, oh, I'm just a regular Joe, not doing anything spiritual. And I feel I'm one of the most spiritual people out there. And even I've been called like the happy Buddha sometimes. That's how Zen I get at times. But I'm human, and I do my spiritual chasing. I do, but recognizing that you're doing it is the trick.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a spiritual master, a Tao master, a Buddhist master, maybe even Christian. Well, if you look at the priests, I guess. The real spiritual people, you're not even going to notice they're there.
Yeah.
Because they're going to not care. They're not going to be like, oh, look at my clothes. Obviously, the priests that wear the most brightly colored things, you're like, oh, no. Like, there's something behind that. And it's not wrong. Wear what you want to wear. But at the core of, like, any Tao or Buddhist teaching, it's like, be simple. Yeah. So what's simple? It's not, and you can have fun and festivals, and I think there's time and place for everything. Yeah. It's just kind of funny how off it's got.
Yeah. And it seems whenever society gets a hold of it, and I'm talking the general society, there's niches and then there's cliques and whatever words you want to use. But when the overall population of society gets a hold of something, it seems to want to create it into a structure of something that is good for the masses, rather than really be celebrating the individualism. I think one of the best phrases that I hear a lot was from a coach of mine, and he goes, you know what? You're unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah. You're not going to do anything great if you want to be successful or whatever, create something amazing for the world. Mm-hmm. If you're not doing something unique that's ever been done, almost, or at least in that way.
Yes.
And we definitely have a society, even in spirituality, that says don't be unique. It's almost like you have an idea and people be like, well, that's never been done before. And you want to be like, well, good. Like, why would I want it to be done before? If someone else has done it and they're teaching you how to do it step by step, you probably don't want to do it their way because they've already done it. Like, you don't want to copy them, obviously. That doesn't work. So, yeah, definitely finding your uniqueness within it. And it could be you wear bright clothes and the gown, whatever. But why? It's the intention. Like, are you doing it to fit in? Like, is it still that sense of I need a group to fit in, or is it because you want to?
You hit right on it though. It's like, is it you? That's the real question. We talk about being a man in this these podcasts, and what is a man? That the individual man will be whoever or however they want to present themselves to the world, as long as they know that's who they are. It doesn't matter if you're this expressive guy, if you're this conservative guy, if you're this shamanic guy, if you're this big guy, short guy, fat, small, skinny, whatever. But having the confidence of knowing of who you are, that's what a man is.
Yes. On a side note, if one more spiritual person comes and tells me they're a shaman, I am going to go crazy. Because there has never been a shaman that's ever told anyone else they're a shaman. In the history of time, there's no Buddha that would say they're a Buddha. People would call them the Buddha. They would never say they're the Buddha. If one other white person comes up to me and tells me they're a shaman, I'm literally just going to slap them in the face. Like I just trick them. And I'm like, I remember this story. This guy came up to me and it was fun. I was doing tarot card readings and I was like at Red Rocks and he comes up to me. He's like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this because I'm a shaman. I just went, all right, this reading's going to be fun. You're wearing bright colored clothes walking around here with a shaved head, but okay. And then my question, when I told back to him is like, I don't really know what I am. Other people tell me what I am. But thank you for telling me you're a shaman the first 10 seconds of me meeting you to prove something to me that you're super spiritual.
Yeah, super spiritual. Yeah, that's the other part. It's like we're going to be super spiritual, so we're going to put labels on every spiritual aspect of what we do, right? Because
yeah. Sorry, I'm just like the comics come out. You know, like when there's studies that show this, that when people are homosexual, that especially males, when they come out of the closet, that they really come out of the closet. Like they almost are out of control because they've been hiding it for so long. So that's like a actual like studied step of the process.
Oh, that's interesting. I heard that.
Which is great. You know, they become really open about it. They're telling everyone, well, of course, you've been hiding it forever. Like that. And it's super amazing. Again, it's almost like spiritual people do the same thing. They come out of the spiritual closet and they're like, look at me. I believe in crystals. Here you go. Look at my clothes. And you're like, oh my God, like, I hope you're okay. It's just too much.
You know, and it's so funny because we've all done it. And that's one of the reasons we have so much fun with it. I mean, there'll be people that probably might get offended by what we're talking about, but you know, we've been there. We know about this stuff, and that's why we laugh about it, because we're all guilty of it, and it's so easy to fall into it. And knowing that it's okay if you want to do that for a while, you know, that's fine. Just recognize what you're doing and don't deny the essence of what you're doing or who you are, just to fit in somewhere else. Because that was my biggest lesson. My biggest lesson was throughout my journey after my brother got killed and everything, I was going, who am I? Who am I? And that was my question on almost everything I was seeking for. And once I discovered I'm me, I mean, that's the simple, I am. And even then, that's me, I. Mm-hmm. Not even going into the I am, because even that gets taken to another extreme too. But to me, that's who I am. I'm just I.
Yeah. And there's so much freedom in just being yourself.
Yes.
And from that state, you're gonna offend a crap ton of people. So one, I don't really care if I offend people. Mm-hmm. Overcoming that over and over. Like, it's like, I can literally say that either I make fun of the crystal person or I'm for the crystal person, and someone's going to be offended. So it doesn't really matter. And by being you and expressing that, you learn about it. And one thing, I've not a clown, but been trained by clowns. That's the same thing as a shaman to me. Like, someone else has to tell me that. Like, that's an honor. Like, it's not something I would ever say I am, because if I do, then other people will say I am. I'm like, no, like that's a high ranking. There's a lot of spiritual work you have to do to become a clown. Like, you have to be humiliated for 2 years. They throw stuff at you. Like, it's not easy. But what we do is being trained is we make fun of things to understand them.
Yes.
So that's a way of learning about it, because you see the ridiculousness in something if you make fun of yourself or make fun of in general. Like, obviously, like, look at my background. It's not very great and professional. Like, I make fun of it to learn about it. And I'm like, really? Do I have to have a great background so people will listen to me? Because that's, again, ridiculous. Like, doesn't matter. Like, and if it does matter to the person, I really want them to watch me. I really care if they do. So, like, you make fun of things to understand them, and then you point them out so people can see them. Because if we all just be hush about it and worry about offending people, then nothing gets said. Like, if Jesus, like, yelled at the king, like, he wasn't worried about offending people if he thought it was truth in the moment.
Yeah, and that's very powerful statement also, that if we keep things repressed, no, it doesn't matter what it is. If we keep it repressed, it really does. It eats up. It eats up inside. I'm getting tongue tied, but the the that fear or that hesitation to say something, if it's not said, it builds and builds and builds, and that's where a lot of our issues happen. I mean, that's one of the things I've learned through all the spiritual work. It's like there is some balance in there that you have to do. Society forces us, though, to be this or that way, or this is, or etiquette. I mean, there's a big thing about etiquette. You don't do this in front of this, or you don't do that. And while it's okay at certain times to be like that, just recognize that holding things back builds. So there has to be some way of expressing that. And that's where it gets real challenging for many people, and including myself, where it's at what time am I okay to do this? And sometimes I think about it too much. I get over analytical and I go, screw it. I just take care of it and I just say it. Or I don't say it because it doesn't feel right. That's another thing that I like to do. I feel into the situation and see what it is. And I try not to think it, because usually I can find a logical excuse not to do something, no matter what. I'll give you logic. If you don't want to do it, I can find the logic for you. It's like, and I can tell you it's very easy for me to do that.
Yeah. I mean, logic at its core is just kind of funny, because logic is an opinion. Like, people like, that's logical. I'm like, no, that's your opinion. It's not logical. It's just what you think is right. For someone else, that's not logical at all. Like, for me to go to a 9-to-5 job so I can make money to feed my family is the most illogical thing I could ever think of, that I don't want to go to. Like, to me, that is stupid. Like, math, like 40 hours a week times 50.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of math. That's like 2,000 hours a week I'm going to suffer so I can give my family extra Christmas presents that they're going to just open and not really use after 2 weeks. So, like, to me, it's all illogical. Like, it's weird. It's not even illogical. It's just weird. Like, I look at society, I look at this world, and I think it's, like, literally bizarro lands. Like, you know those movies? Like, I just watched Suburbia, and you can't watch movies when you're spiritual, by the way. But what's the Burbs or whatever with Tom Hanks?
Oh, yeah, I saw the Burbs. Yeah, that
is the most bizarre movie ever. But that's kind of how life is. It's that freaking weird, right? Like, it's just so weird. Like, I don't know. Like,
or Keeping Up with the Joneses. You ever seen that one? That's
no.
all about keeping up with the neighbor is this way and the neighbor's that. And so you got to get this and you got to get. So, because, you know, if the neighbor gets it, man, you got to get it too. That.
Yeah. Or car washes. That's coming to my head. It's so ridiculous that we go wash our cars and they're dirty 2 days later. Can we just wait till it rains? Like, especially if you're somewhere that it rains a lot. Like, washing your, like, the dad washing his car in his driveway. Like, it's ridiculous. Also, it's ridiculous, and this is nothing to do with it. Christmas lights? We put up Christmas lights and we take them down. So we have lights. Why don't you just keep them up all year and just not turn them on, and then you can turn them on when you're supposed to? Like, it's such a waste of time to take them out up and down. Like, I saw a guy doing that all day. He's like taking down Christmas lights on his front yard. I'm like, dear Lord, I'm so glad I don't have to do that today. I can just go on a walk for 4 hours. Like, you, because you're supposed to have Christmas lights on, you know, and obviously Christmas Vacation makes fun of that at its core, like the guy doing that. But how much electricity are we wasting with Christmas lights? Everyone wants to be eco-friendly, and then, you know.
You just want to be eco-friendly, huh?
I have a bottle of water. I'm not doing great. I refilled it, though, so maybe I'm doing okay. I forgot water, and I was going to hike. I had to get one. You know, I'm not perfect.
Oh, you know, I just had to pick on you, so. I have my Nalgene water bottle here. So.
That's good. You're way better than me. One time I was out there, and I had a bottle of water, and the guy's like, don't use plastic stuff. I was like, okay. And then he did a bunch of drugs in front of me. And I'm like, your logic is weird. Like, I used a bottle of water, but you just did a line. I don't know. Yeah,
but doing the line is okay. You know.
I mean, probably 18 people died in gangs to get you that substance. Like, how many people died along the way, so my bottled water is probably okay.
Oh, I mean, speaking about drugs, it's like, so the people that say ayahuasca is not a drug, it's like, wait a minute, it's a chemical substance. It does change it. So just calling it, I understand what the principle of what it is, and I am part of that also. I do believe that it is medicine, but
sure,
it is still a drug. It's still a chemical. So why do people get so offended when it's called a drug? Once again, comes back to that whole society thing that drug has a negative connotation.
But Adderall is meth.
And that's
so you have amphetamines that you can buy from a dealer, and then you have the amphetamine medicine. It's the same thing. It's just all gray. No, that thing is so funny.
But it's FDA approved though.
That's important.
So it's good, that's very important.
The FDA definitely has the best interest at heart.
The FDA knows what they're talking about.
There's never been a, I don't think through the history of time there's been a government that really cared a shit about the people. They never have. They never will. I don't know. You read a history book. It's pretty funny. But I always thought that was
going all over here.
It's good. The comedy's coming out. You wanted to be humorous. It's your fault. It's all this stuff.
No, I think it's perfect.
The one thing that's so funny,
when
people with marijuana, and I have smoked a lot of marijuana, but holy crap, spiritual communities, you are addicted. And people are like, it's a plant. It's good for you. I'm like, so is cocaine. So is heroin. So is poisonous mushrooms. Like, that is the dumbest argument. And I don't care. I mean, I can see how marijuana can be a good plant, but that's not a good argument. Like, stop using stupid sayings. It's stupid. It's a stupid way. Like, Terrence McKenna wouldn't be, it's just a plant. He would, like, actually say why it was good for you, not like.
But a plant has a spirit, so it talks to you when you're taking it. If you just take THC chemicals, then, you're just taking the chemical.
So I'm not against synthetics. I think it's fine. I think God could come through the chemical lab just as much as he could come through a plant.
I am just.
The force is everywhere. It's not just in plants.
I hope you weren't taking me too serious there, because I was just joking around.
No.
All right, Kitty, come on. Sorry, my cat just jumped on me here. We were having way too much fun here.
Spiritual chasing at its core. Spiritual chasing is just like being right. It's like, this is the way to do it. Like, it's not, spiritual people have less freedom than normal people.
Yeah, it's a lot more restrictive, isn't it? I mean, especially when you get into the whole vegan thing, it's like, okay, the vegan thing, it's like, all right, what is it? You can't have eggs because they came from the chicken. I don't even understand veganism too much. So I'm speaking at a subject that I'm not
eggs I don't get. Eggs to me is like the most, like, they just lay them every morning.
Yeah.
Unless I believe that you want to buy stuff that at least the animal's treated well. I think at the core, but plants need to be treated well too.
Well, I mean, I get, where I get veganism and where, like, an animal right activist, it's like, all right, so you're okay defending the animals that get abused, which it's a good cause, don't get me wrong. But you also are okay getting chemicals from a plant, or you're okay with killing a plant because you're saying that the plant doesn't have any spirit either. So it's okay to eat the plant and kill the plant. But in my opinion, it's like, to me, even the Native Americans, they believe that everything has a spirit. And I agree with that. Everything has a spirit. So why are we treating the animals and the plants differently? Everybody's okay.
Because they're cuter?
Yeah, I've never seen a campaign Save the Mosquito, and I'm waiting for that one, or Save the Crocodile. It's like, you always see it for a nice little animal, don't you?
I mean, you don't want to kill the cute. I mean, that's probably why they're cute from an evolutionary perspective. I mean, it's smart. Like, getting cuter makes you live longer. Like, if there was like just think of like little kittens like battling each other. like no one would battle back. They'd be like, you're so cute. And then they would attack you and you'd be confused. But I think being vegan can be definitely healthy and detoxing and all those things. I don't think it's probably great. I see people that are very sick and I just look at them and I'm like, and they're vegan. And they're like, I don't know why I'm sick. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not doing this well. Like, there's a way to do it that's healthy, but it takes a lot of, it's really unnatural to be vegan because it takes so much outside supplements that aren't actually from things. And that takes manufacturing all this stuff. Like, you're never going to be perfect. And there's always different ways to do things. And you got to find what's best for you. And I've been vegan and then, I've eaten all meat. I do, all over the place. But again, I guess my opinion is the better you treat anything from the animals to the plants, that's what I go to. So I would want to shop at places as much as I can, like Whole Foods or natural grocers or farmers markets where those things are treated well. Like I know the plants are treated well. They're not in rows.
Right.
One time I was in California. I was going to a festival and I've never seen that type of farming. Like the factory farming in California is crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
But the trees look like slaves. Like they're lined up almost like, you're like, this is not natural how these farms are running. Like the plants don't look happy. Like they look miserable and they're picked too early. They're not allowed to ripe, like all these different things. It's just like an animal being killed before it's not all the way ripe, right? It's like veal, it's that kind of ethical thing.
Well, we're all energy.
Delicious, but.
That it's interesting because it's all about energy. And that's why I agree with you completely that, how we treat each other, one, starts there. It's if the cook is upset and he's cooking or she's cooking the food, they're going to put their energy in there. I do agree that is a big part of that. A movie that really shows it is Like Water for Chocolate, the original, not the remake, but the Like Water for Chocolate. The lady, if she's crying, she cuts the food, and when she's crying, and then she feeds everybody, and then everybody's crying. So the energy. Yeah. So the same thing with the animals. If they kill them with a certain intention, or if the vegetables are the same way, if they're being thrown with a lot of pesticide, or if they're thrown with all these other things and factoried out. I mean, it really does look very, very weird when you see that factory line farming. It's kind of weird.
It's bizarre. It's so weird. And it's kind of a funny, like what it's become is almost like we know it's happening. Like everyone knows. And then, but we just have to go on anyways. I don't know what you do about it. I mean,
it's like everything though. It's at an extreme. Just like we're talking about extreme spiritual chasing. I mean, the extreme farming, the extreme killing, or the extreme violent natures of each other going towards each other. It's the extremes that cause the problems, in my opinion. If we were all kind of to be in the middle, then I feel that we would be able to get along much easier and the food would be much better. I mean, but we're human beings. We're imperfect beings. But yet that is the perfection of being a human being, that we are imperfect because that's the only way we are learning. So that's the other part about the spiritual chasing that makes me laugh. It's like we're trying to strive to be perfect, yet if we were perfect, we wouldn't be able to learn from ourselves about that.
Right.
So there is a beauty in the imperfection.
This wouldn't be a very fun game if we could just be perfect at it. Like if there was no, like if you were playing Pac-Man, and yes, you can play a perfect Pac-Man game to a point. I mean, I know that exists. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to get there. But if you're playing it, it was the same way and perfect, you didn't make mistakes. Like it wouldn't be a fun game. You'd just be done. Yeah. So like you want to mess up. I mess up all the time. Like I was telling people, like videos, like all the time. I do stuff and I'm like, oh, Dan, you just topped yourself with this chaos you created. You are a master. You're a master of saying something, and a day later, something else you find on information. You're like, shit, I shouldn't have said that. and then you're like, what do I do? And then you gotta,
Mhm.
but it's fun. Like that's
But that's how we learn. That's exactly how we learn, by messing up, by falling, by if we fall, we get up and we learn how to get back up. If we get hurt emotionally, well, we learn from that emotion. There's the other point of that. Some people take it to the other extreme. It's like, oh, I don't ever want to feel that emotion, which I was there, where I got to a point where, oh, you know what? I'm just going to block all these emotions and screw everything else. And I was
tell everyone I'm just happy all the time.
Or I'm always going to be happy. I've been there too. It's like that stuff the universe will provide. And I would just sit here in my chair and eventually I'll get a new car, a new house and everything. Because that's the way the universe works. No?
Well,
No?
you at least have to go buy the car.
But
Like you got to get up and buy it.
But the
You might have
universe
to do some
providing
paperwork. You got to deal with that dealer guy that's selling you stupid stuff that's not worth it, but manipulating the crap out of you. Yeah.
And he's using money, which is evil. So I can't use money.
I mean, it's a shortcut. I had this moment where I was like, man, I want to manifest free concert tickets and stuff. And I was like, and I was doing it. And something in me was like, wouldn't it be so much easier if you just manifested money and you could go buy it? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. Like, why don't we skip a step? Like, it'd be so much easier if I just had $50 and people are like holding up signs saying I want free tickets and say, do. I'm like, you just spent 5 hours doing that, and I just worked for 2 hours to make enough money to buy my ticket. So you're working harder than me to get free stuff. Being cheap is not being abundant. Like, and I watch this all the time. Hippies are the worst at it, and I've done it. But they'll go to free healing things, right? So I got invited to like a donation-based healing thing, and they won't donate much money, but they have money, and they're going to like nonprofit things for people that don't have money, and they're not giving a lot. And I'm like, and I didn't go because I didn't want to give $100 because I wouldn't go to that unless I donated $100 because I actually am not cheap. I'm not going to go get free healing when people actually need it. But it happens all the time, and I'm like, oh. I just watch it, and I'm like, you're being cheap. My favorite was when people would say, I'm so poor, while they're at like a music festival and they don't have a lot of money. And I'm like, you're at a music festival. You gotta have something. There's people in inner city right now that can't even they're eating soup for dinner.
Yeah.
And you're saying you don't have a lot of money and you're here? Like, this is my frustrations.
But it goes right along with the beliefs of spiritual chasing about society. I mean, even to fit in the box, I call it society chasing. I mean, you want to fit in the box. We want to fit in the box of the society. All of that is, I mean, spiritual chasing. Yeah, we picked on it a lot this time around, but spiritual chasing, all you have to do is change the words and put it into society structure. And it's the same thing. We're chasing for happiness in society. We're chasing to get a new house. We're chasing to get a new wardrobe. We're chasing to get new girlfriend, new boyfriend, or whatever. I mean, chasing is not just spiritual chasing, but there are so many ways that we can chase things, looking for that one thing that we're desperate to make us happy. And really, the only thing that'll make us happy is ourselves, just me.
Right. Yeah, to me, it's just doing the same thing just with a different method. So instead of so there's a guy that gets a job in business and manipulates people so he can get the big house, right, and the cars.
Yep.
Now what spiritual people are doing, they're manipulating the universe to get the big house and the cars. And I don't think it's any different. Like, this universe is, the universe is way smarter than you. Mm-hmm. So you cannot manipulate it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be happy anyways because you're going to get the thing. I don't want a big house. Like, people are like, I want a mansion. I'm like, I have to take care of that.
Uh-huh.
I got to organize all those people. I got to, tell them where to go. Like, I watch some people with lots of stuff. It's a lot of organization. Like, they're always on the phone doing something because they're always, even getting the maids and stuff is a lot of work. You think sometimes it's easier to clean your house. So, and And I know Abraham Hicks always says that. Like, people are like, I want to manifest all these things. She's like, well, it's a lot of work to have all these things. Do you really want them? Like, it's like, she's kind of making fun of it, but she's like, you don't really want it deep down. I'm not good at doing that, so I don't. Like,
well, my pet peeve is one of those healers that, the healers that are always saying, it's like, you're always broken, so come to me for fixing. It's like that.
Oh, yeah.
Those drive me crazy.
It's manipulation.
Yeah, it's true manipulation. And what's insidious about that, it's manipulation at when somebody's down at the bottom of whatever they're dealing with. And to me, that is not spiritual at all. That is somebody trying to take advantage of somebody. Because truly the message that we portray out, if it's all about love, people will see that love and they won't know why they're attracted to you. They won't know why all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to talk to Daniel or I got to talk to Mario. But if you live in that form and not be a vulture, what I call those people are vultures, that life will be much happier like that. You don't have to go out and chase the quick fix. All you have to do is look inward. Maybe get their coaches definitely do have their thing, but always know the coach is your guide. He's not your fixer. He's the guide for you to find the answer.
Right. Yeah. And caveat, because it's something that I was thinking about a lot on this hike, like, make sure your coach, for whatever issue you have, especially if it's emotional or going through something, has some sort of training to help you with it. Because there are now weekend life coaching certifications. And I literally want to throw a plate against a wall. Like, there's people saying they're coaches and they literally went to a weekend seminar and now they're going to help you through your emotional trauma. Like, that's like going to a mechanic that went to a weekend workshop about fixing cars and then giving him your car and trusting him with it. Like, there has to be some skill sets. And I'm not saying coaches don't. And if they're just teaching you, say, how to, like, detox your body and they know how to do that, like, that's different.
Right.
But coming from a person that was trained in therapy and had to go through 2 years plus 2 years of supervision, and they wouldn't even let me see certain clients because it takes training to work with certain things, I just go, people are going to get hurt. And you can get hurt. It's not like you can't, like, someone can coach, like, people can break you with coaching. Like, they can just tear you up. And I heard this one guy, I heard this story, and I won't mention names. Mm-hmm. And it was a coach, and it was with trauma, and the coach made the person share their trauma. And I literally went, what? And she said, yeah, made me share it. I'm like, that is against all trauma healing rules. That is, like, number one, you never make anyone share anything about the trauma they don't want to share. Not even individually, let alone in a group. That's so traumatizing. Like, you just traumatize a person times 10. And I'm like, but this is what's happening, like, in the coaching world. So make sure the best coaches in the world that I watch, the Kyle Ceases, the Tony Robbins, the ones that are really, really good, they have some training. They don't tell you really, but they know psychology. Like, I watch them. I can see what they're doing. Like, they're not just, I have a connection to source, so I know what to tell you in the moment. Like, they actually are like, well, I'm coaching you. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
You know? And I see people sometimes wanting to be coaches, and I just want to go, you can't be a coach. Like, you don't have any training in coaching.
Yes.
Like, it's like you don't have any training. Like, how are we going to coach people through their emotional distress?
Yeah, and that's, that goes along with anything. Shaman. It's like people talk about shaman. I'm a shaman. It's like, you know what? There's a lot to be a shaman. It's like there's lineage things first off. Then all the plants that, if you're doing like the plant medicine type shamanic route, I mean, there's interactions with drugs that people are using and pharmaceutical drugs I'm talking about. And also if they're taking certain type of foods, there's a lot more to that. And also they're used to dealing with shamans. They're used to dealing with energetic things, and they have the tools because they've been years and years of their training. So there is that aspect of it too. And it's really sad how it's getting I'm going to say it's bastardized, the terms. Anything emotional seems to be getting bastardized. It's like, oh yeah, here's the quick fix. Here's a pill. Here's the answer in 3 sentences.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no. And there's amazing coaches out there for different things. And I'm not, but I just want to like warn, because even when I first started doing their, like you say, in the first year, like I couldn't work with certain clients. Like they wouldn't let me, like I wasn't ready for certain things and I wouldn't take them. Like it would, and that's really the spiritual way of doing it. Like I can't help you.
Yeah.
And I've told, like and whatever it is, right? If someone came to me and they're like, I want to learn how to fly a plane, I wouldn't be like, I can teach you. But spiritual coaches will do that. They'll be like, I have this thing. Oh, I can help you because I need a client. Because can you really? No. Like, and that's not even a good way to run a business because then you're going to fail at helping those people. And they're not going to give you
more damage either. Also, I mean, that's the other part. You could do more damage than good.
Right. If I teach you how to fly a plane, we'd both be dead.
Well, you're not going to teach me how to fly a plane then. I'm going to go somewhere else then, Daniel.
That's smart. That's smart.
And we're a little bit over, but I think it's been fun.
Yes.
We've been very honest with you guys about spiritual chasing. I do have some final words for this, and Daniel, I'll say mine, then you can say yours, and we'll sign off. But you know, the thing about all this spiritual work, internal work, whatever you want to call it, to me, society has created a place where it's making us doubt who we are. And to me, that once you remove that doubt and trust your gut, I mean, everything that I've done, I've trusted my gut on it, and it's been 100% accurate. And sometimes it hasn't gone the way I wanted to, but I still got something out of it because I trusted my gut. And as long as you trust your gut, no matter how many certifications somebody has, if they're promising you the world, I'd be feeling something inside of me first and then feel if it's right for you. If you feel it's right for you, then it's for you. If it's not, trust that gut. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Anyway, that's my final words for this.
Yeah. I might tell people just not to listen to other people in general, like their gut, and especially children. They know better than you what's best for them. So if you're a parent or a teacher, that gets to me. Parents that are telling, it's like, I know what's best for you. I'm like, no, you don't. Kids to guts. And and I guess what's coming through for me is like, be real or honest about what's happening. Like, don't put on, which I'm seeing it, but like a mask that you're happy, like this like pretend happy spiritual mask. Because if I have a happy spiritual mask, then I'll manifest my reality. Like the universe can see past that. Like it can see past all that BS. It's not going to work anyways, and no one's fooled. Anyone that's connected isn't fooled anyways. And instead, be authentic about what you're feeling, and you'll be authentically joyful. So I used to pretend to be happy, and I would do my best. And I think that was part of the path. But when I actually just was happy, I actually went through a process where I said, I don't even want to be happy anymore. And that was one of the biggest releases of my life. Because when I let go of the release of wanting to be happy, I didn't need to be happy anymore. I didn't have to seek it. And then I was just happy when I was happy. And I'm happy a lot more since I don't want to be. Because there's not this like part of me that's like, I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. I'm like, no, I'll just be exuberant when I'm exuberant. And I'll want to punch people when I want to punch people. And I will be sad when I'm sad. And it's all okay. And by being that, I've never been happier. So, but I don't want it. It's not something I need, right? If I had a year of being sad, that would be okay.
You're being human. And that's okay.
Yes. That's true. I still have snot coming out of my nose right now, so I must be human. Spiritual I am. I wipe my snot on my hands. It's not.
At least in this lifetime, we're human, right? And who knows about other lifetimes.
True. We might have been a bird.
Anyway, well, thank you, Daniel. It's always a lot of fun. And thank you, everybody. Feel free to comment. And Let us know if you want to hear a topic or what you'd like or didn't like about our podcast here. We're always willing to listen to comments. If we do anything about it, well, that'll be a whole nother thing.
Yeah, and if you don't like what we're doing, then write a comment below, because all the hateful comments still give us publicity. So if you hate us, please tell us.
We love you both. We love the good ones and we love the bad ones. Thank you so much.
I don't love them. I just deal with them.
Go.
All right, bye.
Bye.